Hello, everyone. This is Coach Aaron Saft in the Running is Life podcast. Today, I have a very sensitive topic. It's not easy to discuss sometimes because it's unfortunate that we even have to discuss topics like this. But safety in running, I was, just appalled by seeing more and more news of women gone missing or killed or harmed while out on a run. It's not something I wish anyone, and specifically women, had to worry about. So this episode is about safety when being out running, because that's what this podcast is about, is trying to get information out there, get people thinking about others, right? We need to think about everyone when we're out running. And I want everyone to be able to go out and run and have peace of mind, not fear when they go out running. Now, that's a long way from where we're at right now. But, it has to start somewhere, and just by vocalizing it and creating awareness and perhaps giving people ideas of what they can do. There's some great articles being published right now. I've seen a number of female publications as well as males putting things out and trying to make a difference. And, however many ears this reaches, I hope that it can make an impact and perhaps, save somebody's life or keep them safe. That's the, the goal. Because where we're at right now, I just don't want to read about another female. I would never want anything to happen to anyone I know, or for that matter, anyone, whether I know them or not. It's not, it's not a place in running where we should have to worry about those type of things. But we do. And so, going through this podcast and some of these things that I'm going to go through, it's like I said, it's a tough topic, especially coming from a male. But I am a voice, I am heard. And so, that's part of this podcast is putting information out there. And so, if you know of somebody that this could help, or know of somebody that has fear about going out running, perhaps these are some things that could help, or at least create the dialogue between the two of you as to, what could be done to make that person feel safer. To get out and run, because it's hard when somebody has that type of fear and they just can't enjoy running because they just don't feel they can get out in a safe environment and run. So, I look through a number of websites to get some ideas and kind of spark some of this this conversation or this podcast, but there was some obvious ones. For instance, try to run the daylight hours. It's not to say that during the day it's going to be the safest, but there should be more people. You should be more visible. So trying to run in the daylight hours, and then if you have to run in the dark, there's a number of things that you can do. One is just try it on those days where it's dark out. Maybe you have to run early morning, potentially do a treadmill run, right? Go to your gym, or if you have one at home, do some treadmill running. I'm sure a number of you already do that sort of thing. Another thing is bring a dog. A lot of people are more intimidated with people that have dogs. If you don't have a dog, then there's a number of ways that you can get a dog out there. The Humane Society always wants people to take dogs out and get them exercising. So, go to your local shelter and have a conversation with them and see if you could pick up a running buddy. Not that you have to adopt it. It's just that, you say, hey, like, I run a lot. I would love to have a dog, even if it's a different dog each time. I'd love to have a dog to kind of, share some miles with, and see if you can borrow a dog. You're doing a great service to the shelter. So think about that if you're a dog person. Another thing is carry your phone with you and make sure that it's charged. Make sure you have a full charge on your phone. On there's a few things that you can do. There's the Strava beacon. If you use Strava and have the premium, you can use the Strava beacon, which will track you, and you can give that information to a loved one, a friend, so that they can see where you're at, and gives your loved ones and yourself a peace of mind because you're being tracked. So something to think about. You could do the same thing with like a Garmin InReach device, but if you already have your phone and you have the Strava and the premium features, then you can use Strava Beacon to have that tracking feature. But again, make sure your phone has a full charge. And with that, make sure somebody knows where you're going. Let your loved ones know, let a friend know, going out for a run, I'm doing this course, plan to be back at this time. It's something we talk about on the trails. When you go out for a long trail run, let somebody know. I'm going out for this route on the trails. I plan on it taking me between this long and this long. So that way they know if you're way beyond that time, maybe it's time to check on you. Which again would be something that you could do with the Strava Beacon or the Garmin InReach. So having that tracker feature is a great thing. So with all of that in mind, you're kind of dotting your I's and crossing your T's when you go out for a run, because now you have some more eyes on you in case something does happen, God forbid. So other things, other ideas. There's of course group runs, right? Going out to group runs. Now, a lot of times, sometimes they're hard to meet. So I have a few suggestions if like there's group runs, but they're not at times at which you can run. But group runs do allow you to meet others. And then perhaps you can, befriend somebody that you can become a regular training partner with. Then you have somebody that you can run with more often and feel a little bit safer, because you're with company. There's so many running groups out there. If you Google search it, if you go on a Facebook search, you can find so many different groups to run with. Be it a trail group, be it a road group, baby joggers. There's all sorts of groups out there. Women's only. Of course, there's Trail Sisters. So just be aware that there are options out there. Now, I know as runners, we're typically introverted. I get that. That it's hard for a lot of us to feel comfortable going to a group run. Some of us don't feel that we're fast enough to go to a group run. So you have to find the right group run for yourself. Find one that's going to meet your needs and that you're comfortable with going and being with others. So, and a lot of those have a contact, and you can reach out to them, kind of say, hey, these are my concerns, my fears, my anxieties about joining the group run, and perhaps they can belay them. Perhaps they can put them to rest. So, don't feel bad about reaching out to them and finding out more, because that's something the groups want you there. That's for sure. They want you there, and they want you to be comfortable with being there. So, you have to make sure it's right for you. But, with a little research, I think you can find something that might work. But if not, potential is to start your own group run. There's nothing that says that you can't start your own group run. Like I said, not all group runs meet at times that are feasible for you. So start your own. That's something you can consider, potentially putting it out there. Now, I know that's scary too. And not everybody's comfortable with starting their own group run, but if you have a small collective of friends, maybe somebody in that group is, and you bring up the idea and say, hey, I'm not as comfortable with this idea of me doing it, but would anybody be comfortable with starting our own group? And that could be as simple as creating a Facebook group. Just putting information out through that, or through your local running store. Connect with them saying, hey, I'm starting to think about, creating a group run. Could we do it in collaboration with you? And so through the running store, then they can put out the word and say, hey, we're going to start this new group run. It's going to meet here at this time. So just a few ways to kind of work around it, but then that creates, a weekly or bi-weekly, however you want to do it, place for you to go and meet with others. Now, it may be small at first and take some time to grow, but, eventually it will catch on. So, something to consider is creating your own. And then, the big thing here, and I've kind of already mentioned this, is making your concerns and your voice heard. Let people know, hey, I do feel uncomfortable running at this time of day in our town. And does anybody have any suggestions, right? Like, we've got all sorts of running groups. And there's different ways to communicate with them. And there's different ways to receive comments. Are all comments going to be nice? No, unfortunately. There are a lot of trolls out there that like to make comments no matter what. So, just listen to the ones that are helpful to you, right? Now, hopefully nobody makes comments about the fact that you're uncomfortable with running. That's a legitimate concern, right? So, but, if they do, like I said, let it go. But it's a good, starting point to say, I have these concerns. Does anybody else have these concerns? Is there anything you're doing that has helped you to address these concerns, to make you feel more comfortable with running? So, make your voice heard. Talk to people about it, express that. That's a huge chunk of getting towards where you're going to feel more comfortable with being out there. This piece is really hard. The end. I hope this never happens to anyone. I wish it would never happen again, but it happens. And what happens if you're attacked? Now, that's not my place. I'm not one to give advice to say, here's what you do. But it wouldn't, hurt you to learn what should you do if you are attacked. That's a really important piece. So it may, kind of relax some of your concerns to know what you should do in that situation. Have you considered taking self-defense classes? That's another piece of this puzzle. So think about those things. What should you do? Again, there's a million resources on the internet. There's a ton of self-defense courses. A lot of towns offer free self-defense courses. So look up what's available to you in the area. And if you have the time and the energy, take on those things so that you feel a little bit more comfortable with that situation if you are attacked. Okay. So, like I said, we worry about these things, but then do we do anything to really address it? Or if it did happen, what would we do? We plan for races and we plan for runs and we try to plan for every eventuality, but this is an eventuality that obviously is a reality right now, and we need to be prepared for it. Unfortunately in my life, I have been, attacked, and I was just walking. When I was growing up, I was walking, and I was attacked at knife point, and it was not a great situation. I tried to talk my way out of it. I ended up losing my money. Rather lose that than my life. But it made me aware that I can be a victim too. Thankfully, I wasn't hurt. I don't know if he really had malice or he just wanted my money. Most likely just wanted my money. I don't think he wanted to hurt me. But there are people out there that do. And that's scary. So knowing what to do if you are attacked, right? I think that's a huge piece of this puzzle. So, let's make sure we are in the know. We have enough knowledge to know what should we do and practice that, right? Like, especially self-defense. Like, that's something we need to continue to practice, and be careful with. So if you start taking it, keep practicing it so that, it's ingrained, right? Okay. The other thing, and I think all of us can be guilty of this, but if you do have concerns when you are out running, perhaps reconsider wearing headphones. Headphones tend to distract us. And if we have concerns about being out on a run, we need our wits about us. We need to be aware of our surroundings. And, unfortunately, headphones diminish that awareness. So, if, like I said, if you do have concerns, it may be something to consider that, you don't wear headphones, or you don't have your phone playing out loud, so that your attention is on the run and your environment and your surroundings, so that you're, if something is around, if there is a danger around, you're ready for it. You're aware of it, right? Like that's, a road or trail. There are plenty of dangers on the trail, wildlife, etc. There's just a lot of things that can go wrong out there. So having that awareness is, that's probably quintessential. So consider not wearing headphones. And then know your route. If you have a route, especially your town, where are areas that could potentially have some concerns, right? Like if there's homeless camps, etc. Is there an underpass where, we know a lot of homeless people take shelter during the rain, or, so know your route and know potential dangerous areas. Can you reroute to get around those areas, right? So being aware of your route and what's on the route, that's a huge piece as well. So, it may just require you to do a little bit more driving around, to understand the area and to understand what's around, and talk to others. Say, hey, what are some safe routes that you have found, right? Like, use your resources. It doesn't have to be all on you. Use people that that are very familiar with the area, and really, are in the same boat as yourself, right? Okay. And then what access do you have to emergency phones or emergency services? I've been on quite a few greenways in areas that have the emergency phones. So if you didn't for some reason have your phone on you, then you have these access to these emergency phones, and knowing where emergency services are and what are available. For instance, like the fire department that's on my road is volunteer, so there's no one at the station, so that wouldn't be a very good place for me to go if something happened. It could be a point of where I could meet somebody, but the cell phone reception isn't good there either. So, knowing these things, I would need a better plan, right? Know when you have cell phone reception and when you don't. That's a big concern, right? So on these routes, how are you going to communicate? Most of the time I carry my Garmin InReach. If I go out into the woods, or if I'm going for a long run, I'll carry my Garmin InReach, so at least I have some way of getting a message out, right? It's got the SOS feature. I can use it to send a text. But the thing with that is make sure you know how to use it. The Garmin InReach or any of those devices are no good to you if you're not familiar with how to use it. So it can give you a peace of mind to have it, but, again, know how to use it. That's, often something we forget. Like, I hear that quite frequently. Oh, I do have one of those, but I don't know how to use it. That's, something to learn for sure. There's some great YouTube videos on how to use it. So, just, do yourself a little bit of diligence and get out there, watch some videos, learn how to use those things, and make sure on your route you do have a way of communicating. That's a huge piece of it. Okay, so be it an emergency phone or, like I said, emergency services if you have a police station, etc. And then know what businesses are open that you could seek help or safety, right? So if you're out running in town, where are some places you can go if you feel threatened or scared? Are there businesses open, especially if you're running at early morning hours? So know what's available on your route to get to. Can you cut across from your route to someplace else to seek safety? So just knowing what's available to you around your route that will, be a safe haven for you. So, it really is being familiar and aware of your surroundings. That's the biggest thing here. We don't want to do anything that will diminish or take away from that fact. Okay? So, lot here. There's a lot here. And there's, like I said, there's so many resources on the internet, but I want to make sure that, that we start talking about these concerns, that we start addressing and making sure that our fellow athletes, our fellow runners, that we're all as safe as possible. What can we do to help and make everyone safe? This is my attempt to start that conversation. This is my attempt to get it out there, to start talking about what's going on, and what can we do to make sure everyone is safe, especially our women. It is a concern, and I have the utmost concern for everyone, for all the runners. And so I hope you can take something from this. I hope it gives you some ideas. I hope it sparks a conversation. I hope it sparks some way of change, or you going about your runs to feel safer out there. And but again, if this is something that you can share with somebody else, please do. I'm just, I said, I'm not the best source for all of this, but I am someone who can actually reach out there and put some of this information out there. So I'm going to try to do my part. I thank you guys. Thank you for listening. It's, like I said, tough conversation to talk about, but I want to make sure that we're all doing our part. So, other things going on. Running Is Life coaching has been extremely busy. My friend Zach Dean, who's also one of the athletes I coach, he was doing his 4th Brutes Challenge run, and we've talked about the Brutes Challenge on here with multiple guests. Zach was trying to complete the SCAR, which is the Appalachian Trail, starting at Fontana Dam and running the Appalachian Trail across the Smokies to its terminus in Davenport Gap. So it's basically the Tennessee section of the Appalachian Trail. And he asked me to run the back half with him. And so at Newfound Gap, he picked me up. It's approximately 50K. And Zach did amazing. He did wonderful. He was about an hour off his goal time, but we didn't anticipate the technicality of the trail itself. It was pretty tough, and especially when it got dark. But Zach did wonderful. So I did that this past weekend. Got about 50K in with Zach, which made me feel pretty good. Having had the unfortunate race that I did at New River, the Cabin Fever 50K, having DNF there. Glad to get this in. Glad to help my friend. I've got Heartbreaker coming up here, March 23rd. So, the 50 miler is coming up pretty quick, and I'm excited for it. I really am. I'm excited, to race, the 50 miler. It's on the Hellbender course, so a good prep for Hellbender. I took a few days off after the 50K with Zach, as I needed to. Didn't feel like sore or too tired actually, but I wanted to make sure my body would absorb that fitness, and that I wasn't going to fatigue myself too much. So gave myself 3 days and recovered. Ran this morning with my friend Nathan Frantz. We went out and did an hour together in the rain. Had a wonderful run. Felt really good. Legs feel good. I feel fresh. So all good signs. Ankle's doing okay. It's not 100%. It's not perfect, but it's doing okay. Did purchase a new pair of Lecky poles. I purchased the Ultra Super Lights, and I'm really pleased with them. Excuse me. Really pleased with them. They're much lighter than my previous pair. So very excited for those. So I've got the Lecky poles. Also interested in the new Innovate shoe. Innovate, I've talked about in the past. I've had a real good history with Innovate. I use their Trailfly 270G on the SCAR run, the 50K I just did. I was very pleased with them. The new shoe is the Trailfly 280, I believe, and it's just coming out here in the U.S. I know I've talked about over consumerism, but what happened here was the Mountain Racer 3. The heels wore out oddly, both of them on the collar, and they rubbed my Achilles when they wore out. So I was a little concerned with that, especially how quickly that collar kind of broke down on me. So trying to seek another option, and I think these new Innovates, they came out with the new mold, so it's got a new foot shape. So I'm excited for the new shoe. So check those out on Innovate. I don't have any affiliation, as always, with any of these companies, but when I see something that excites me, I definitely want to share. So check out the new Innovate line. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. Other than that, coaching is still extremely busy. At the time, still not accepting new clients. It's just between that and track right now, just extremely busy. So I don't want to take on any more right now, because I don't feel like I do anyone service, the athletes I current coach or a new athlete. So I'm holding off at the moment for new coaching clients. We'll see after the spring. I might have a few spots open up, so stay tuned for that. As I always say, it can't hurt to reach out if you're thinking about coaching for later on, perhaps the fall or late summer. Like I said, you can reach out and we can talk about the possibility of coaching in the future. But right now, I want to make sure I'm doing the best I can for the athletes that I currently coach. Things are shaping up for the summer too. I'm planning out the trip to Colorado. Going to go out there and spend about 2.5 weeks prior to High Lonesome, and really excited for that trip. We're going to volunteer at Hard Rock. I signed up for volunteering at Hard Rock, so I'm really excited for that opportunity. It's going to be a fun trip out there, and spend some time in Silverton. We're going to spend some time in Gunnison, Silverton, and then we're going to stay in Buena Vista prior to the race. So it should be a great trip out there. I'm really excited for High Lonesome, as I am for Hellbender. I cannot wait for Hellbender. So that's all. It's all coming up quick. Hellbender and Heartbreaker are almost upon us. Well, Heartbreaker, of course, being within 2 weeks here. So super excited for all of that. So, we got a lot going on here. If you guys have anything, questions, comments, concerns, just reach out. Obviously, all my contacts are in the show notes. I'm happy to kind of talk about any type of topic that you guys have or questions that you have. I felt today was a very relevant topic, though. So please, let me know anything that I missed, anything that I can put on. I will add to the next podcast if there's anything that you want to address or talk about. And if you have a guest in mind, please let me know. I'd like to have guests on and talk about topics that are going to hopefully help you learn something. I don't mind having people on to discuss races, especially if they have an experience that we can all learn from. I just don't want to talk, to people that just give a kind of a race recap. There's so many podcasts that do that. I enjoy those as well, but I didn't want this to be another, podcast of that format. So, I want to keep it to stuff that we can take away from and learn from. So there's definitely some training episodes that I kind of want to go over and talk about, perhaps do some more videos with YouTube so that you can see how I'm using Training Peaks, and perhaps you can do the same and kind of program your training a little bit better and more efficient. Just did an episode last week, so I didn't want to do another episode, and again, I felt this topic was very pertinent and important to discuss. So anyway, I think that's it for this week, my friends. I hope your training goes well. Again, questions, comments, concerns, reach out, okay? Until next week, keep moving forward, my friends. Running is life.